All right, we'll go ahead and get started. If you have a question for head coach Nicki Collen, please raise your hand. I'll call on you. Danny Thompson, we'll start with you. Go ahead.
Coach Danny Thompson with the three-point conversion. Great win tonight. It seems like this team has found their groove as we've gotten close to the end of the season. Tonight, it was Chennedy night in the fourth quarter. She had 11 in the fourth quarter. Talk about her evolution as potentially being the closer down the stretch for this team.
Well, I mean, I thought early, she spent, when you looked at the first 5 games, she was good in the first quarter and really good in the fourth quarter. And I think she likes the big moment. She liked her matchup tonight. The way they were hedging and stuff on ball screens and late trapping, it allowed her to just kind of reject and play into space. And so, I thought both those jump shots were big shots for her, the 3, as well as the jump shot. That's kind of was the difference maker, because everything before then had been basically right-handed layup, and she'd have had 35, if she'd have just finished on some of those right-handed layups today. And so, I just think she's explosive to the rim and she's strong. So she gets the ball up to the rim. So, I think a lot of it was matchup driven. She doesn't often get a defender on her that's smaller than her, and I think Heidemann's a quick little player, but, it doesn't maybe have the strength, and so I think it was a little easier for Chennedy to get to the rim. So I thought she did a good job for sure.
Doug Feinberg, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win.
Thank you.
It seemed that at different points someone else stepped up for you. I mean, Naja had a run, Courtney had a run, Chennedy had a run. Does that make you guys that much more dangerous, that there isn't, you can't stop one person, there are 4 or 5 people who could get hot at any given time?
Yeah, no, it allows us to play to that matchup, I mean, I just kept going back. I said coming out of halftime, I felt like Courtney hadn't had enough touches. So we really made a concerted effort coming out in the second half to get her touches, pin downs, high floppy actions, just get her on the move and get her to her jump shot. And so, we kind of started there, and then I thought, B had an advantageous matchup there for a while. And, I mean, I thought it was a little ugly. If the number of points we left on the board with missed layups, it was, we were, I think 9 for 24 in the first half in the paint, and the majority of those were at the rim. We took a couple jump shots, but the majority of those were at the rim. So, we've just got to finish better around the rim. Elizabeth's got to finish better around the rim. She knows it. She keeps playing. She's such a good defensive player, and she separates so well off screens that she's open all the time because she does such a good job of separating. So, we just have to finish around the rim. Mo missed one early and then really settled in and did a good job as the game went along. So, when you think about the points we left out on the board and the ability to kind of take a lead into halftime as opposed to just hanging in there. But, yeah, I mean, I think you have to play to matchups and you have to play to, kind of the hot hand in this situation. And let's face it, for the most part, it's going to be those 3 guards, I mean, they're all such capable scorers in different settings and against different matchups. So, I think what we have around them is then we've got to have complementary players that, Elizabeth's setting good screens, she's going to get open on rolls, she's going to get offensive rebounds, and the same with Monique.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Michelle Volpel, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, I don't know there's a lot of guards in women's basketball who can make something out of nothing quite like Courtney and Chennedy can. How do you feel like they've evolved in a fairly short time playing with each other, and what that means, for however much longer you have them now, but also, for the future?
I mean, I think that, Courtney, it really just took her a while to get her legs. I don't think if you looked at her jump shot, even 5 games into her playing, she just wasn't getting any lift. And now she's kind of got that bounce back, and really has her confidence with it. And then when she gets confident with that, then she mixes a sprinkle of keeping it all the way to the rim, and getting an easy one at the rim. So, I think she's helping Chennedy. She's very good at, getting Chennedy to understand, hey, if it works, keep going to it. They're just, You don't have to, if Courtney's jump shot is her thing, she's just going to keep, playing to her strength and playing to her jump shot. I think at times Kennedy's so explosive to the rim that, she'll settle for a jump shot just because she's gotten 3 layups. So it's like, okay, now I'm going to shoot my jump shot to show everyone I got a jump shot. If you can keep shooting right-handed layups all night, then you should keep shooting right-handed layups, and she's really working with Chennedy on trying to get her, Kennedy's so electric with the ball in her hands, but what Chennedy has to learn is how to play with the ball not in her hands. And so filling lanes in transition and really getting into scoring areas and, and not kind of watching. So it's that balance, she does a good job of being her hype man, and kind of saying, hey, get the ball in attack mode, keep running that, over and over again until they stop you. They can't stop you. With kind of trying to teach her, but Kennedy's never, I didn't play Chennedy down the stretch in the last game because quite frankly, Blake was better, as much as Chennedy was scoring, Blake was so good defensively and she was making all the right plays on offense and making shots. And, a team like Chicago that has such great guard play, keeping Chennedy engaged at the defensive end. And I thought tonight she did. I thought the message was sent. I love Chennedy Carter, and I think she's a superstar. But she also has to understand that there's always 2 ends of the floor, and she has to do her job at both ends all the time. And so, I think it's still that maturation process for her of what that means, that Courtney's trying to teach her, because Courtney had to learn that too when she came into this league.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Edwin Powell, last question. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, talk a little bit about your maturation with these players and these certain lineups. Do you feel kind of like from game 1 to game till now that you're getting a better feel of what players are in a better situation to win and what lineups work best?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've got a different group than we started the season with. So some of it was just, kind of how do we get Courtney, really up to speed, and it took us a while to get her up to speed. What are we doing? What's the full playbook? Not Courtney has the whole playbook, but, we were really restricted in that early part of the season because, she was so important and we had to have her on the floor. But her and Glory didn't know the playbook, as well, or, just had parts of the playbook and we had to put it in pieces. So, I think it's that combination of playing players that are both skill-based and then mixing energy players in. And I've obviously played Strickland a lot at the 4 because I think if you look at what we've been hurt by this season, it's that, Billings and Glory, our 4s have not been able to stretch the court. Teams are not guarding our 4s and not allowing great space. And so as the season's gone along, the lane's gotten dirtier and dirtier. That's what we call it when there's people loaded up in the lane, and we need paint touches to be good. And so, some of that's just spacing related. So finding ways, even if Strickland isn't scoring a lot, she creates space. They don't just stand in the lane and leave her standing at the 3-point line, and so playing Mo some at the 5 and then, kind of moving her to the 4 and having an energy player there, but kind of having that balance of, Strickland being there. So I think that's the biggest difference. We're in crunch time. So, our guys have to, kind of battle through fatigue because, we're putting the lineups out there that are having the most success. But that means they're playing a lot of minutes. So learning to give them a minute here and then extend that into a timeout or a quarter, things like that. Even that 4th quarter, got Benige out for a minute, got Courtney out for a minute, then kind of went back with that group of Chennedy, Benige, and Courtney, but at least gave both Courtney and Benige, maybe a minute, maybe a minute and a half. I don't know. It wasn't a lot.
All right. Thanks, Coach. All right. We've got Monique Billings here. If you have a question for her, go ahead and raise your hand. I'll call on you. Doug Feinberg, we'll start with you. Go ahead.
Hey, Mo. Nice game.
Thank you.
Has it felt like it's sort of you guys have been in the playoffs the last week or two? I mean, every game is basically a must-win for you in a sense. This has been sort of single elimination without the actually being in the playoffs. Or am I reading that wrong?
Yeah, no, definitely. Every game has a certain amount of seriousness to it, and we're preparing every single game like it could be our last. We don't want it to be our last, but the mindset is just to keep playing and to keep giving ourselves opportunity.
Thanks, Mo.
Michelle Vopel, go ahead.
Yeah, Monique, what's it just if you can sort of put in perspective what it's been like to ride out these ups and downs a little bit for you guys. I mean, obviously you had that stretch where nothing could go right, but you kind of got through that, and here you are going into the last weekend. What's it been like for you personally in terms of what you've learned maybe about yourself and going forward?
I mean, just as cliche as it is, trusting the process, even if it doesn't feel like it's processing. Just staying true, being consistent, showing up the same every single game, and always trying to be a good teammate. I mean, if anything, you focus on what you can control. That's being a good teammate, keeping a good attitude, working hard, and once you do that, it'll pay off.
Thank you.
Edwin Powell, go ahead.
Congrats on the win, Mo. When you guys have things really rolling, when you're winning ball games and when it's really feeling good out there, what is the identity of this team?
That's a really good question. And it's hard to say because we haven't really practiced too much. So, I mean, we're kind of just learning on the fly. It still feels like we're learning on the fly. You know, we've been playing together for a few months now, but still trying to figure everyone out. But we make it work. I would say that's the identity of the team. Make it work. Make it happen.
All right, thanks, Mo. All right, we've got Kennedy Carter here. If you have a question for her, go ahead and raise your hand. I'll call on you. Edwin Powell, go ahead.
Hey, Kennedy, congrats on the win. Talk a little bit about your maturation and your being comfortable toward the end of games as opposed to the beginning of the season till now.
I mean, it just comes from I really believe how far I've came. You know, I played with USA basketball. I've just traveled and played so many times, so many games, and then I've been in those type of situations. College just prepared me, and then just playing with the vets on our team and the coaches. They do a great job of just communicating to me, making things simple and making my job easy. So it's really them. I just try to be composed and be a great point guard when it's time to win.
Michelle Vopel, go ahead.
Yeah, Kennedy, sometimes I think we have to remember how young, you still are.
I'm the youngest one. Like, I believe I'm the youngest one in the league, and that's my thing. So, like, I'm so young going out there, running the team for 40 minutes, trying to get us wins, going off injuries, coming back, playing my heart out. So, man, this is really me out here.
What I asked Nikki just about how you and Courtney, because both of you have this ability to, I feel like, make something out of nothing as players. How has playing with her helped in a way, and that you guys do have some similarities? Maybe you can talk about how what you do with your game. How has that helped?
She's just a great teammate, man. Coming in, I didn't think it was going to be like this, but getting to play with Court, learning who she is, learning her off the court. She's an amazing player and an amazing person. She communicates to me, makes my job easy. I really like playing with her because we're both scorers. When the time comes down to it, I know she can hit a clutch shot. I know I can hit a clutch shot. We feed off each other. We play off each other. And I think if we get a longer season, more time to practice, we're going to be a dynamic duo.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And last question, Doug Feinberg, go ahead.
Hey, Kennedy, I know it's not the exact same, but does it kind of feel like the NCAA tournament you played in that it's either win and go home now because you guys don't win, your season's over in a sense the last week or two? Or am I oversimplifying it?
It's starting to feel like that, and I like that because now we've got something we're actually playing for, which makes people play harder. You know, I play hard regardless, but when it's at stake that you got to go home and you can't compete no more, competitors, that's tough. So for me, knowing that, hey, it's do or die time now, I'm trying to go out for 40 minutes and play my heart out and do the best I can to get my team that win.
Thanks, Kennedy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.